in my pocket.
But it's early in the year, so I'm not used to it.
Hi, I'm Delphine Sellers, Executive Director of Urban Community AgriNomics, UCAN. I wish I could give each one of you one. Urban Community AgriNomics was founded by my sister Lucille Patterson and I in 2016. Following my retirement as County Extension Director, we sit and talk and discuss some of the disparities that I saw existed in Durham County. So we were founded to combat some of those disparities. They consisted of food insecurity, the academic failure of our youth, and our family units that needed help in order for families to be whole and to be well. The resources that we provide here at the Catawba Trail Farm are based on giving access to individuals, any individuals who are seeking to become resilient. And when I say resilient, that means is we're not just giving people food, but we're teaching them how to grow their own food. We're not just saying stop eating the food out of the cans. We're teaching you to preserve and freeze and can your own food. So that's how we are a resource. But health and wellness goes a whole lot further than just access to nutritious, healthy food. It also includes access to open green spaces, access to the environment, to space where one can walk and find peace. Even if you're not interested in gardening, or you're not interested in, let's say, even in nature, I think that peace comes with being able to go to some place that gives you peace. And this ground I consider pretty much a peaceful, holy ground. And the reason is because it once held enslaved people. So if you can come to a spot such as this, and you're surrounded by Mother Nature, you're surrounded by birds, by trees, by flowers, by clean, fresh air, then that in itself puts you in a very healthy environment. You also will be surrounded by people who care about you, those who are learning with you and are not judgmental in any way. So we learn together, we grow together. The motto of Urban Community AgriNomics and the Catawba Trail Farm is growing community one seed at a time.
Hi, my name is Ricky White. I'm the Executive Director of Ellerbe Creek Watershed Association, which we usually refer to as ECWA. So it's an interesting story why ECWA was founded and how ECWA was founded. There was a gentleman that lived close to the creek who took it upon himself to go out near the creek and start to take out invasive exotic species, plant and plant natives. He started talking to other folks who were interested in that, and from that, Ellerbe Creek Watershed Association was born. His name was Steve Hiltner, and he's our founder. He now lives in New Jersey. ECWA is all about connecting people and communities in our watershed to the creek, preserving the creek and the land and water quality, and really engaging with all those communities together to figure out how we can conserve water quality, urban nature, and get people outdoors. We offer three really kind of buckets of things. We work really hard to protect land and the creek. We're a land trust, which means that we acquire land either through donation or purchase and set that aside permanently for conservation and the enjoyment of nature. The second thing we do is restoration, and that takes on a lot of different forms in urban settings. It's everything from working in our preserves to restore the land and water quality, especially through removal of invasive exotic species. We have reintroduced prescribed fire in some areas in some of our larger preserves. And we do a lot of work days on those preserves with volunteers and staff to make sure that they are providing the best kind of urban nature and biodiversity in the city. And the third pillar is really engagement. So again, going back to meeting communities where they're at, listening to communities, trying to figure out where that connection point is, where we can kind of work together in different neighborhoods to try to kind of all meet our goals and our vision together.
Ricky, how did we meet?
Well, I know how we met because I started as executive director 3 years ago and was introduced to you and was really excited about the work you're doing because personally, I'm really interested in organic gardening. I was an organic farmer for a few years. Okay. But the organizations met before me.
Right, we did.
And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, through a project called Parks with a Purpose, and I think that is, and not think, but through the Conservation Fund. So they were working in Northeast Central Durham, working primarily with DCLT, which is Durham County Land Trust. So UCAN got involved through that with Ellerbe Creek Watershed Association through the Parks with a Purpose program. Wonderful program, doing great things. How do they align? How do they not align? I personally think that we're all about the same thing, and that is giving people access to open green spaces, educating people about the role that the individual play in the health of this earth and all that's in it. That can be from water to land to animals to the trees that we see that are so beautiful this time of the year. So we all work together to build health and wellness, not only of human beings, but of all the other things that live on this beautiful earth.
And I think too, adding to what Delphine said, we're also really aligned in terms of the communities that we want to serve. You know, we work with all the communities in the Ellerbe Creek watershed, but I think we're really trying to focus on those communities that traditionally environmental organizations haven't done a good job of being there for, so that we can make up for that hole that everybody's been digging.
I agree. It's all about, for us here at Catawba Trail Farm and through UCAN is, again, as Ricky indicated, we work with everyone, but our focus is with individuals who have traditionally been marginalized or disenfranchised, you know, those individuals who felt that they did not have safe access to the open green spaces in the woods and the land. But we just love to work with anyone because health and wellness affects everybody.
So I think it's really cool that we're out here in northern Durham County. Some people would say this is the middle of nowhere, but I prefer to think that it's really an important healing spot to be able to have people come out. And even though UCAN isn't in the Ellerbe Creek watershed, I feel like a lot of the folks that you serve and the folks that we really want to get out to the farm are in especially the urban part of the watershed. I've talked to a lot of folks whose grandparents or great-grandparents farmed, and they have memories of being more self-sufficient. And this is a way for them to kind of come back to that a little bit in a modern world. And I think that's really, really exciting. And we, as ECWA, want to help promote that as well. So we work together, I would say, organically and opportunistically, because we're both very small organizations, right? And so, we're not necessarily reactive because we all have things that we know we want to do, but when there are opportunities that present themselves, like we have a group that really wants to understand more about farming, or what we call our Watershed Academy, where we're really working, depending on the year, with kids or adults to get them out in nature, understanding water quality issues and self-sufficiency in urban agriculture. UCAN and Delphine are the folks that we call first. because we recognize that we don't have that expertise in-house, and we really need to work together to make sure that people have the right information or exposed to the things that y'all are able to teach and pass on.
And I think we work together as well. It's easy to see when you come to the Catawba Trail Farm and you think about the work that Ellerbe Creek Watershed Association does and their mission and purpose. When you come here, you see the results of those efforts. You see land that is flourishing. You see native pollinators. You see that has been an eradication to some degree, what it looks like when invasive plants have been removed. And should you take a walk down the Catawba Trail or the path that here, you actually walk to the little river, and you will see the results of what it looks like to be able to listen to and hear this and see a clean river, a clean water system. Because whether you're in East Durham or North Durham or West Durham, all of the water systems connect. It is all connected, and we all have to play our role wherever we're located to make sure that we maintain the integrity of all that we do and keep this land and this water system good for humans as well as animals.
I think that point about protecting water quality is another place where we really work in tandem with one another. When you think about it, you know, a lot of us aren't just concerned with our own needs, but we're concerned with the impact that we have on others from perspective of water quality in the environment. And both the Little River, which is here, and Ellerbe Creek, which we work in, feed into Falls Lake. And guess what? Falls Lake is the major source of drinking water for the city of Raleigh. So instead of just ignoring that, and you know, we really want to find a way to make sure that we're not making things worse and that we're actually improving things downstream, because those are our neighbors, you know, those are our brothers and sisters, and we want to make sure that we're doing right by those communities as well. ECWA is really excited about continuing to work with UCAN when they're willing to share their deep knowledge and expertise. Not just Delphine, but all the other folks that are working here and gaining more and more knowledge and helping us to do a better job of stewarding our properties. Delphine and I and her sister Lucille went out last year to pick muscadines on these old grape arbors that are on Ellerbe Creek Watershed Association property. And I would love to continue to see how we can kind of work together to maybe provide that as a community resource as we start to do a better job of managing those grape arbors, those historic grape arbors, and figuring out how we're going to be able to kind of use that as a community resource for folks.
I mean, and as Ricky has already mentioned, how we're going to continue to work together. I'm honored that this year we will still, UCAN will be part of the Ellerbe Creek Watershed Association Watershed Academy. I mean, to me, that is wonderful. That's teaching young people. That's talking with young people. They are the next generation. We're leaving this land to them, so we're imparting knowledge to them of how and what to do and how to make this land a better place. How can we not work together forever and ever? We're all about some of this very same thing. We love this land. We know that it creates a better life filled with health and wellness for any of the citizens that use it, that come out. So we can exchange knowledge. I'm learning every day. He's teaching me about the watershed, and I'm teaching him a little bit about gardening, even though he knows more than I do. But you know, it's a relationship. I think it's a relationship, it's a collaboration, and it's a partnership, and that was started on good ground, if I might use that term, and will continue to grow and prosper.
Thanks.
Community members should get involved for one primary reason. I think everybody can benefit from having their own intimate knowledge of the Watershed Association of Catawba Trail Farm. Everybody can benefit, and that's part of the resilience. One thing that you cannot take from people is knowledge once they have it. Whether they use it or not, that's another thing. But to share that knowledge of how to protect the water system, how to grow your own food, how to cook your own food, what to grow when, what is in these woods that you can eat should you get lost. I mean, that builds resilience. We're entering a time now that I think we've never entered before, obviously, where there is fear of a loss of food, there's a fear of a loss of space, there's a fear of more pollution, there's a fear of climate change. And all of us have a role to play in that so that we can eliminate those fears and reduce climate change or the and I think that's how we, so I know I'm rambling, but it's like, I lost the question even, but you can cut it off. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't know what I was saying.
Oh no, that was really good.
Okay.
Can I?
Okay.
I'm gonna riff off of that a little bit.
All right.
So we all know that the climate is changing. We're seeing it in our daily lives. We're seeing it in the disruptions that we all face in the environment. We're seeing it in how it affects our politics. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of uncertainty. And I think there is also an interest and a need in figuring out how to help and how to be part of the solution. And I think UCAN and ECWA are both trying to be part of that solution around climate change, building resilience, but also doing things that are going to hopefully shift our climate in the right direction. Because yeah, we're small organizations, but when you think about all the other environmental organizations out there locally, we all need to take action, both to prepare people for what's happening, but also to figure out how to reverse it. I also think that I think of a reason why people would want to get involved, but I also think about what people actually get out of being involved. And oftentimes they're two separate things. So people often get involved in projects like ours because they want to give back to the community. But what I'm finding and what people say over and over is that they're getting as much as they're giving. You know, they're getting to be outside, they're learning about and building relationships with their neighbors in a time when it's really hard to do that. And they're learning things like skills like self-sufficiency that are going to really help them and their family, especially if we end up in these crisis situations that are possible in our future. So I think it's really important to think about both how you can help, but also that the act of volunteering in itself is helping you.
That's it? Okay, you got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you do. Oh, good, good.
Oh, good, I'm glad.
Good.
Thank you. In my pocket,
But it's early in the year, so I'm not used to it.